Stifling heat at the Texas Motorplex. Welcome back to Ennis, Texas, as we continue our coverage here of the NIRA Toyo Tire Texas Import Showdown with the Comp 6 category. Now, Comp 6 are normally aspirated cars, no power. With a BMW against Shong Saber with a 96 Nissan. Hong picks up the win in the Beamer. Brett Kepner is down on manufacturer's midway.
The Honda dual overhead cam because that, my friends, is the new small block Chevrolet. That's the engine that is receiving all the technology and development, and it is the engine of choice of the modern-day rodder at the National Import Racing Association events. And nobody knows that better than Jim Stobie, who, with Toyo tires,
I think that Toyo noticed just the extreme number of people and enthusiasts that come out to these events, and there's just so much hype around it that we just wanted to be a part of it.
Now, you're already using these events to spotlight new products, including, as an example, your new autocross tire, which I presume includes a lot of technology that you have gleaned from events like this.
The RA1 we've kind of used and tested in it, and it's a good overall competition tire. It's not the best drag tire, it's not the best road tire, but it fits in as you can use them for both, and you'll still get good times on either the racetrack or the drag strip.
All right, thank you very much, Brett. We're ready to go with the other pairing in our Comp 6 semifinals. This is Craig Scharr from Austin, Texas, and Russell Zotz from San Antonio, Texas, with a pair of Nissan Maximas. Those are luxury cars, a 96 and a new 98. Very close race right here. Scharr will pick up the win with a 1556 to a losing 1566. So that will set up a great final between our Beamer and our Nissan Maxima. Brett Kepner is down in an area they call the autocross, another kind of activity they have here.
Well, Ted, drag racing isn't the only thing you'll find here at the NIRA Texas Showdown. You're looking at Billy Meyer's personal road racing course. Now, you might think to yourself, I thought there was just a drag strip here. Not anymore. That's the SCCA-sanctioned autocross tournament that's taking place here at the Toyo Tires Showdown that indeed includes a variety of race cars on, well, the beauty of autocross, a racetrack that you can put anywhere. Now, bracket racing, as far as drag racing is concerned, is probably the single most economical form of motorsports. Let's face it, you can take any kind of car you want out to your local racetrack and go at it. But the neatest part about autocross racing, which has been around this country for more than 50 years, is the fact that you can construct a race course anywhere. Case in point, one of the pit areas here at the Texas Motorplex. Now, during an NHRA national event, for example, this area would be filled with Top Fuel dragsters, pro stockers, and funny cars. Now it's marked off for more than 1/2 mile of torturous course, and I'm not saying that in a lighthearted sense. It definitely places an emphasis on the driver's ability as well as the conditioning and setup of the car's suspension and the car's ability to make horsepower. Autocross is simply a race against the clock. Touch a cone, you get a penalty. Touch a couple of cones, and they'll probably ask you to go out and try again a little bit slower. But either way, it's a unique way to determine the driver and car's combination of skills. Now, as if the autocross course itself doesn't look like a blast, remember the Toyo Tires Cup will be presented at this event to the driver who performs best on both the autocross track and the drag strip. And that means that somebody is going to have to really show their mettle out there in a variety of disciplines at this race.
The National Import Racing Association invites you to be a part of the next generation of racing. Join NIRA today. Your one-year membership brings you 12 issues of your choice, Super Street Magazine or the new Max Speed, plus NIRA decals, membership card, racing rule book, and the newest edition of our NIRA t-shirt. Plus, NIRA members compete heads-up racing classes at NIRA events, winning performance products and cash. Call 1-800-456-6426 today and join the National Import Racing Association, the next generation of racing.
We asked professional race car driver Scott Pruitt to test our Firehawk SH30 high-performance tires with Unit T. Unit T, the ultimate tire technology we've spent years perfecting. In fact, when it comes to designing performance tires for wet cornering, we've been around the block. The Firestone Firehawk SH30 with Unit T. Get a grip on wet cornering.
You know, some people think the best thing about ESPN magazine is the writing. Other people say it's the great photography. And some people think it's the design. But if you ask me, the best thing about ESPN magazine is clearly the large format.
We continue our coverage of the NIRA Toyo Tire Texas Import Showdown. Ted Jones here with you. Brett Kepner's down in a very hot pit area, and we're ready to go with the all-wheel drive semifinal category. Now, the all-wheel drives, of course, have to be four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. No power adders allowed. And in this semifinal round, it's Arthur Armendariz from Grand Prairie, Texas, with a 90 Eclipse against Brian Hood from Katy, Texas. The Eclipse picks up the win. Brett Kepner's at yet another activity here on the ground.
As you might have expected, one of the largest single gatherings of activity at this National Import Racing Association event was in the car show area, where, again, Toyo Tires came together to present a pretty remarkable array of late-model cruising machines, street machines, and customs, including, of all things, a four-door Saturn SL2. Now, nobody knows the late-model custom scene better than Tom Larson. And, Tom, you've got to be pretty impressed with the amount of stuff that shows up here.
Oh, very impressed, and it also makes my job very difficult to find the top winners for this award.
One of the most amazing aspects of this type of car show that people may not realize is that the vast majority of these vehicles are darn near new. Now, how do you judge a showroom stock new car?
Well, while they're new, these guys have done a lot of work to these cars. You can see just by the Saturn you're talking about here that's got a custom metal flake orange paint job on it. They trick out the motors, they lower them, wheels and tires. So there's plenty of items to look at to judge these cars by. They are not factory stock by any far stretch of the imagination.
What is one of the most popular aspects or fads, I guess I should say, of customizing these particular imports?
The first thing that everybody seems to be doing is low-profile tires and a set of wheels and lowering the car down. After that, then they start with the engine compartment.
Really, they start with the engine compartment?
After dressing up the outside with the wheels and tires and lowering it down, yeah, then they'll start trying to add the power to the thing.
Now, the roller skate appearance has become immensely popular, but a lot of these machines are also starting to tuck the tires inside.
Yeah, if you check the cars out in this show field, you'll see that there are not a whole lot of cars here that have the tires hanging out of the wheel wells. They're all tucked in and looking mean and on the streets.
Now, what are you looking for as far as the top-of-the-line awards? Are you looking for just originality?
Not just originality, it's overall quality, fit, and finish, how the car's presented, how the car's detailed, how clean it is.
Well, it just gives you an indication of what to look for with the custom aspect of the imports. And keep in mind that a huge majority of the cars that are in competition here actually did double duty. If they weren't just sitting here in the car show, they were either out on the drag strip or down at the autocross track. And that's pretty much what makes this movement so unbelievable. It's got real flexibility.
We're ready to go with the other semifinal pairing now in our all-wheel drive competition. Bryce Yingling out of Arlington, Texas, with that Eagle Talon, will be paired up against Mark Hall from Austin, Texas, with a 93 Mitsubishi 3000 GT. Give the advantage to Bryce Yingling as he picks up the win with a 12.99. Great time. That's low ET in eliminations and sets up a great final. Once again, Brett Kepner has found a fantastic car.
How many engines can you name that have been banned by the National Harvard Association and the International Harvard Association? Well, here's your answer. Back in the late 1970s, these Wankel rotary engines indeed proved to be so efficient and so powerful for their size that the National Harvard Association and even the IHRA found that they really had no place to put them where they could compete equitably with V8 or even V6 American engines. Nowadays, however, the rotary engine is one of the most significant engines out there, whether talking efficiency or even just in basics like fuel mileage. However, in modern-day import racing, you don't see that many of them. Now, think of a rotary engine in an example against the conventional V8 or V6 engine that has a total number of cylinders, each with its own piston, as a cylinder with a triangle inside of it that spins, creating a variety of different cylinders all the way around the engine. Indeed, that's where the term rotary engine comes from, because the center of it is constantly spinning, sometimes at RPM levels above 15,000 RPM. But this particular machine, Adam Sadamatari's incredible 9-second RX-7, indeed can produce 9-second 140-mile-per-hour horsepower and through a very conventional drivetrain that includes rear-wheel drive.
We're still using mostly full stock internals. Basically, the main modification is porting, but it's still 79 cubic inches, and we're making about 650 horsepower.
And when these engines were banned by the major racing associations, it was because the efficiency of these things is so amazing in comparison to what we've known for the last 100 years. How much Wankel technology has been applied to the modern-day imports that you can see?
Well, you have to understand that a lot of the technology we're seeing today is a lot of basically piggyback equipment, and a lot of the product developed on the RX-7 is for street cars. So we're in a little bit different class than a lot of the cars you'll find out there doing import drag racing. We're still using the stock chassis and the stock independent rear suspension, which basically gives us an advantage because we're able to develop parts for those consumers out there that want to use the Mazda rotary engine in this day and age using the technology that's available today.
Based on the incredible amount of power you've gotten out of the front of the car, where's the weak link? I would have to presume in the back of the car?
Yeah, the rotary motor is a very good motor. It is somewhat temperamental. That's why tuning is very critical. So once you get the tuning dialed right, it's fairly reliable. So it works out really well.
One part of modern-day racing is indeed the computer download. It's not like the old days with your carbureted 265 Chevrolet. Now you just download the information from the run and make computer and timing adjustments or pretty much anything you need to do in a snap. Now with Ron, Rich, and the rest of the gang here, this is a family operation. But one thing's for sure, considering the fact that this car is still virtually all stock components, it may well be one of the single quickest machines of its type in the world. And as the research and technology development goes on, it's probably going to remain that way for a mighty long time.
Stick around. When we return, it's finals time in Texas.
Which of these tires will stop faster?
Because it's finals time at the Texas Motorplex as we're ready to be awarding trophies in all of our categories here coming up right now. And our first category contestant will be the all-wheel drive. These are for four-wheel drive cars featuring Bryce Yingling out of Arlington, Texas against Arthur Armendariz. Armendariz driving a 90 Eclipse, Yingling with that 91 Eagle Talon. Give the starting line advantage to the Talon right there with a 6:18 reaction time. Side by side down the quarter mile. Looks like Bryce Yingling will pick up the win. 12:95, 110 miles per hour. Time now for a class you haven't seen. We're down to the finals in Comp 4. These are for four-cylinder cars normally aspirated. Anthony Palo will be going against Mark Fu from Plano, Texas. It's a 90 CRX Honda against a 92 Acura. Remember, they have a little bit of everything here in the import cars. Palo first off the line with that Acura. Looks like he's leading it now. The Honda comes on. 1285, 105 miles per hour for Mark Fu. Our next final category will be in the Power 4. This is for four-cylinder cars. Jackie Young from Houston, Texas against Kenny Tran from Garland, Texas. They're allowed two power adders. That is nitrous oxide injection and turbochargers. A pair of Honda Civics, both 93 vintage. That's unusual in the final. Give the starting line advantage to Jackie Young with a 6.66 reaction time. He'll pick up the win. 1160, 122 miles per hour for that four-cylinder Honda. That is incredible. Comp 6 final, six-cylinder cars. Benjamin Hong against Craig Shear from Austin, Texas. A 95 Beamer and a 96 Maxima by Nissan. Now, in the Comp 6 category, you are not permitted any power adders. They're normally aspirated six-cylinder import cars. Now, the Beamer's the only car that's running the 14s all day long. If he keeps it up, he'll pick up the win, and he does just that. You know, some of these cars are front-wheel drive. That could present a problem, as Brett Kepner explains.
I'm sure there's a lot of viewers out there who are used to doing things the old way in auto racing, and all this new high-tech six-cylinder and four-cylinder stuff is probably pretty confusing. Well, let me make it a little more confusing for you. Chassis dynamics and suspensions, completely different when you're dealing with front-wheel drive. And the main reason, of course, is that the front tires are not only applying power to the asphalt, but also taking the brunt of the weight transfer off the starting line, or what we used to consider something good. When the car rocks back to put power and weight onto the rear wheels, well, of course, that's no longer good. And as you can see by the all-steel Honda VTEC machine of Viet Lam and John Wang, this particular machine uses the slicks up front and incredibly skinny, very little rolling resistance tires on the back. But the way this thing launches, considering that it is itself a 10-second race car, is probably one of the most difficult things in this form of racing. Well, that's the problem. If you go to the bigger tire, indeed, that puts a lot of strain on everything from the axle to the engine itself and the transmission. But, like I said, this is a whole different scenario than what we're used to. In fact, front-wheel drive and front engine and all that high tech is just about as different as any other type of drag race you can think of.
All right, ready to go with the star of the show, the Power 6 between Kyle Krudlik and Lance Woken, both out of Houston, Texas. It'll be an 87 Supra against the 94 Rotary RX-7 Mazda. Now, these Power 6 cars are 6-cylinder. They're permitted 2 power adders, that is nitrous oxide, and 1 turbocharger, maybe 2 turbochargers. Woken's been running in the 11s, has an easy win, 11:47. Look at the speed, 101 miles per hour for that 87 Supra. And that 11:47 is low ET of the event. Our congratulations to Lance Woken in winning the Power 6 category and setting low ET. Now, there were some ET brackets contested here for import cars. 3 different ones, Street Tuner 1, Street Tuner 2, and Super Tuner. Our congratulations go out also to all of those winners. In addition to that, the autocross winners are Dan Woody from Scroggins, Texas, and John Williams from Dallas, Texas. Our congratulations to those deserving winners. This is Ted Jones for Brett Kepner. Thanks for joining us on this special In the Driver's Seat coverage of the NIRA Toyo Tire Texas Import Showdown. So long, everyone.